King Harris, T.I.'s son, was taken into custody over the weekend. However, what's truly stunning, folks, at the moment is what transpired when he was in detention. Online footage claims that when T visited his kid, their relationship became extremely heated. According to some, he confronted him violently, and the incident was purportedly captured on camera. People can't stop talking about the video, which has been going viral. We'll go into detail about what transpired, what was said, and why this topic is receiving so much attention in this video. This is not what you're prepared for. Around 1 in the morning on Sunday, the Gwinnett County Police stopped King Harris when they saw him speeding at 60 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. For most people, that would be a standard traffic stop. What transpired next, however, is what set this one apart. Officers reportedly ordered Harris to get out of the car when they saw a gun inside. Harris was arrested for obstruction after disobeying the order, according to several accounts. A search was then carried out by the officers. They discovered a vape pen with 10 milligrams of THC. This is where the narrative starts to take on a life of its own. When King Harris was arrested, he had on a full-body Pikachu onesie. A 21-year-old adult man, the son of one of Atlanta's most famous rappers, is handcuffed in the middle of the night while dressed as a Pokemon. The internet went into a frenzy over that photograph alone. After TMZ broke the story, it quickly appeared in all of the major media. According to jail records that Complex was able to obtain, King was charged with 4 different offenses from a single traffic stop, a felony for possessing a controlled substance, a misdemeanor for willfully obstructing law enforcement officials, and 2 traffic citations for speeding and seatbelt violations. However, King Harris didn't appear very disturbed by the circumstance. Not at all. Instead of keeping a low profile, Harris posted selfies of himself dressed as a Pokemon on his Instagram stories, making fun of the situation and drawing comparisons between the police and Team Rocket, the Pokemon villains. He commented on Instagram about having a great Pikachu life in Tokyo before returning to Atlanta to Team Rocket, where Pikachu is free. FK Team Rocket. The jokes flowed. The number of memes was growing. And overnight, the mug shot, a picture of King Harris appearing in front of a booking camera while wearing a bright yellow Pikachu costume, became one of the most popular pictures on social media. After posting Bond, Harris was freed from detention after the incident over the weekend. However, the footage that later leaked was what caused the story to develop even more than the actual arrest. Videos of T.I. visiting his son while he was in custody started making the rounds on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. The response was enormous. Every frame was examined by people. It's the attitude, the body language, and the weight of a father witnessing his child go through this in public once more. This is not King Harris's first run-in with the law, which is why the video struck such a deep chord with so many people. It's not even his second time. For years, this pattern has been developing. The lengthy history of King Harris's legal issues must be examined in order to comprehend the significance of this most recent arrest. When King was still a teenager in 2022, he had his first well-publicized encounter with the police. He was taken into custody for failing to buckle up in his vehicle. A female voice could be heard on camera outlining the charges to the young artist during that stop, informing him that he was being arrested on 4 counts. King handled the circumstance even then with a degree of defiance that came to define his public image. In another video, he remarked, "The king is back, bro," while laughing about the arrest. "I'm back. I'm free." The same incident resulted in charges of speeding, operating under the influence of drugs, and driving with a suspended license. A bench warrant was issued for King's arrest when he neglected to appear in court. Up until October 2024, that warrant was inactive. King Harris was arrested that month after an officer detected marijuana in his vehicle and accused him of almost hitting a police officer at a Dunwee petrol station. Later, body camera footage from the October 2024 arrest appeared online, providing the public with a close-up view of the exchange. Reports state that Harris was arrested after allegedly almost colliding with a police cruiser. Officers stopped him in his BMW as he was exiting a petrol station because they could smell marijuana emanating from the car. They also noticed that Harris had a gun holstered on his hip. Police found that Harris had an outstanding warrant for failing to appear in court when they ran his information. This is the problem. According to the arresting officer's report from that 2024 incident, the arrest was comparatively cooperative. Mr. Harris was cooperative, and I removed the firearm from his hip without any problems, the officer said. He was first booked into the DeKalb County Jail before being transferred to Pickens County authorities due to the outstanding warrant. In August 2025, the Pickens County accusations were formally withdrawn. A type of fresh start and an opportunity to proceed, but that period of calm would be astonishingly brief given the most recent arrest in Gwinnett County and the dropped charges. It had only been 8 months. At the same time, King's personal life was taking an entirely other turn. He gave birth to a boy. No. 58:09 a.m. was his Instagram post announcing the birth. The M. Greetings, King Jr. It's time to assume control. Tiny Harris, his mother, had been ecstatic. In front of family and friends, King and his child's mother, Jay Nigga, honored their pregnancy with a baby shower months before the kid was born. My baby King is having a baby. I'm too geeked about my grandson coming. So, here's a young man who had just become a father, whose family was celebrating new life, whose previous charges had been wiped away, and yet, just months later, he's back in a police car, Tiny wrote alongside photos of the event. You have to understand the world King Harris grew up in and the expectations that world carries. Growing up in the spotlight on T.I. Tiny, the family hustle, King is no stranger to public attention. The juxtaposition is striking, which is why the footage of T visiting him during this latest detention resonated so powerfully with millions of people to fully understand what T must have been feeling in that footage. Since he was a young child, cameras have followed his family. Every significant event, every disagreement, every period of development and regression, all of it was captured on camera, edited, broadcast, and watched by millions of people. While most kids his age make errors in privacy, King Harris never had that opportunity. One of the most influential people in Southern hip-hop history, T.I., born Clifford Joseph Harris, Jr., helped establish trap music and created an empire with Grand Hustle Records. T penned novels and performed in films, but his biography is also characterized by his own extremely complex connection with the state. In 2007, he was detained on federal weapons charges. He served time in federal prison, was freed, then broke his probation, and ended up back behind bars. He has first-hand knowledge of the system and how it destroys people and splits families. And he has frequently voiced on camera his concern that his son might follow in his footsteps. This fear has been widely documented. T has publicly voiced his deep concern about his son King's reckless behavior, fearing that it could land him in jail. This concern has been expressed in interviews on social media and within the framework of the family's reality TV presence. When the Waffle House incident went viral earlier this year, T publicly intervened. His father responded to the footage on Instagram by questioning why the Waffle House dispute was even newsworthy, expressing frustration not only at the media cycle, but also at the fact that his son's actions were regularly making headlines for the wrong reasons. T has positioned himself as someone who turned his life around after prison, learned from the consequences, and spent years trying to steer his children away from the traps he fell into. The tension between the son who graduates with honors and the son who keeps ending up in handcuffs is the essence of this entire story, and it is precisely this tension that made the detention footage so compelling. Here is a father who has experienced the system himself, who understands the stakes, watching history threatened to repeat itself through his own child. T had also celebrated King's high school graduation with honors, posting his pride publicly. One of the most noteworthy aspects of King Harris's public life is that he has never shied away from sharing his own perspective, even when that perspective works against him. King Harris recently stopped by the morning hustle, bringing his unapologetic energy to the studio to clear the air. The footage went viral because people recognized the universal anguish of a parent watching their child spiral, amplified by the public stage the Harris family occupies. He talked extensively about his relationship with fame during that appearance. Given the public's perception of him and the incidents that have kept his name in the headlines regarding his viral Waffle House confrontation, Harris confirmed suspicions that his complaint was about pickles. After stating clearly that he didn't want them, he said he asked the staff member to remake the order, but was met with attitude. He described the exchange, saying the worker had an attitude and threw it on the ground, like, "I'm not making this ___." When the incident was captured on Instagram Live, King and the Waffle House staff had escalated to the point where he suggested taking their dispute outside. In the same interview, King also discussed his conflict with 50 Cent. Harris gave a straightforward explanation for his choice to bring up the late mother of the entertainment tycoon by donning a shirt bearing her image. He believed that 50 Cent had targeted his mother first, and he was retaliating. King's public persona has been shaped by this kind of retaliatory energy. He doubles down rather than backs down or apologizes. He did, however, swiftly draw attention to the distinction between his everyday life and carefully edited reality television. According to King, the viral moments that keep him in the news aren't planned stunts. Rather, they are simply unfiltered, real-life situations captured on camera. He clarified that while reality TV presents viewers with a controlled image, his online persona reveals his true self once the official cameras stop rolling. King Harris's paradox is that, despite his desire for honesty and his insistence on leading an unfiltered life, he frequently ends up in courtrooms and prison cells. He wants the community to understand that his fervent enthusiasm is not a ruse, but rather his true self. The issue is that this reality now includes a felony charge for drug possession, a misdemeanor charge for obstruction, and a digital trail of Instagram posts mocking the entire situation while dressed as a Pokémon character. King didn't take long to post on social media following his most recent arrest. It's unclear if Harris's online remarks will result in additional legal repercussions. Shortly after the arrest details surfaced, Harris took to social media with a post that contained profanity directed at the police along with provocative remarks aimed at an officer's family. The posts received mixed reviews online, with some fans applauding his refusal to be shaken. The contrast between King's cavalier's social media response and the footage of his father arriving at the facility, one man treating this as a joke, the other man clearly burdened by the weight of it, stands out the most, though, and is what turned this from a typical celebrity arrest story into something that resonated emotionally with people far beyond the hip-hop community. Others noted that laughing at a felony arrest on social media is exactly the kind of behavior that turns a bad situation into a disastrous one. What does this mean for King Harris and his family? King Harris is now facing several charges that could have long-term consequences as the case moves through the legal system. The most serious of these is the felony possession charge, which carries serious penalties, including jail time, in the state of Georgia. Harris and his representatives have not made a formal statement about this particular arrest, and the matter is still pending as authorities continue their investigation. The misdemeanor obstruction charge adds to the picture of someone who is not cooperating with law enforcement, a detail prosecutors could rely heavily on if the case goes to trial. It's noteworthy that his parents, T and Tiny Harris, have not yet made a public statement about the Sunday morning arrest. In the past, both of them have publicly addressed their son's controversies, T through Instagram and Tiny through celebratory posts about King's personal milestones that appear to be intended to reframe the narrative. However, as of right now, there is no statement, no Instagram post, just the footage of T.I. showing up present but silent. The silence itself has been interpreted by many online commentators as an indication that the family recognizes the gravity of this moment in a way they may not have before. This incident marks another significant moment in the young artist's life as he strives to establish his own identity amid the public eye due to his famous family background. King has stated repeatedly that he wants to be known for his own work, his music, his brand, and his identity apart from his parents. But the headlines keep drawing him back into a narrative that is defined by legal issues rather than artistic achievement. Despite having well-known parents, Harris, who is 21 years old, has a terrible legal history. Let's take another look at the timeline. In 2022, He was arrested and accused of speeding, driving with a suspended license, and DUI. He failed to show up for court, and a bench warrant was issued. Dunwoody was detained in 2024 after almost colliding with a police cruiser. An outstanding warrant was found, and he was booked into the DeKalb County Jail and later transferred to Pickens County. August 2025. Pickens County charges are dropped. November 2025. A newborn boy is born. April 2026. Arrested in Gwinnett County for felony drug possession, obstruction, speeding, and seatbelt violation, all while donning a Pikachu costume. Each arrest has garnered greater media attention than the previous one. The footage of T visiting King during this detention went viral, not because it revealed anything new, but rather because it confirmed what everyone watching this family has feared for years. Each one has come with more social media spectacle, and each one has taken place against the backdrop of a father who served federal time himself and has publicly begged his son to change course. That the cycle is ongoing and that, with each incident, the gap between a serious, life-altering jail sentence and a misdemeanor traffic ticket is getting less. Regarding the social media posts, law enforcement agencies have not responded in public. However, the public opinion court has already convened. It remains to be seen if King Harris views this as a wake-up call or views it as just another Pikachu adventure. One thing is certain, though, the stakes are no longer hypothetical. They exist.